Hi and welcome to Car Seat Libraries UK. In today's video I'm going to show you how to install the Britax two-way elite car seat, and we're installing it in the rear of the vehicle. We're using a 3-point adult seat belt, and I'm going to show you how to install it in the reclined position and then in the upright position. Okay, so this is our two-way elite. First of all, we're going to release our tether straps. Okay. Now with the two-way elite, you can use it rearward facing, 9 to 25 kilo, and you can either have it in a sort of relaxed recline position, or you can have it in a more upright position. I'm going to show you how to fit it in the recline position first, okay? Now the first thing you need to do is actually get the angle that you want your two-way elite to be fitted on, okay? And the two-way elite should be no more than 40% reclined, and it needs to brace against the front seat, so there's no gap, okay? It needs to be tight against the front seat and tight against the adult seat here, okay? So you can see I'm going to have a bit of a gap, so I'm just going to bring my front seat back so it's in contact with the two-way elite. Okay, so that's job number one done. Okay, so I've braced against the front seat here, okay, so it's going to be in contact. I've got a good angle here, we're no more than 40 degrees, and I prefer to make sure that it's not in contact with the vehicle headrest as well. So that is a good angle, okay? So the first thing you do when you're fitting your Britax two-way elite is you make sure that you set the front seat up and the child seat up so you've got your angle before you do anything else, okay? The next thing we're going to do now is install the tethers. Now in this car, my tethers are going to go through the actual front vehicle seat cushion itself. If your rails have a gap underneath them, you can actually slide your tethers and use the rails to anchor, or if you've got something like a Volvo, you'll have dedicated points in your car to attach your tethers. But this car, the rails are really tight to the floor, so I'm actually going to go through the vehicle seat cushion, okay? So I'll talk you through what I'm doing. So the first thing that we need to do is take our tether strap, and on your tethers you will see that there will be an end with a buckle and an end with the loop, okay? And we're going to take the end with the loop, and on my front vehicle seat I'm going to go through the seat cushion, okay? So what you'll see, if you keep looking down here, you'll see the tether come through the actual vehicle seat cushion itself. Okay, so do you see that down there? And then what I'm going to do is just bring this round, taking care not to twist my tether strap. Okay, so I'm going to do this one here on this side, so it's one on each side, and I'm going to bring this round as well. And like I said, just taking care to ensure that these are not getting twisted as I'm doing this, okay? And then from this angle, and just continually checking that they're not getting twisted, which mine are, obviously. Right, let's take that one through there. Okay, it's looking a bit better now. Okay, so the next job that you're going to do, let's just get this tether right. Don't be afraid of spending a bit of time on your tethers to get them right as well, okay? The next thing you're going to do is poke your buckle through the loop, okay? So let me do that so you can see. So I've got the loop end here and my buckle, and I'm just going to pass the buckle through here, okay? And then what you're going to do is where this loop is, it needs to be close down to the vehicle seat. So I'm just going to pull from the front and make sure that that is nice and tight, okay? Which it is, and I'm happy with that, so I'm going to click that in and just pull, and try and keep the green buttons facing outwards, because when it comes to tightening your tethers in a bit, it'll be a lot easier to tension if these green buttons are facing out this way and on the other side. I'm just going to loop the tether that's in the back on the other side, and then we'll do the seatbelt. I find the tether that's on the inside of the car, I find it easier to do from the front seat, but the tether that's on the outside of the car, I tend to do from the back of the vehicle, okay? So again, I'm just going to double check that I've got no twists. And I'm going to pull this tether through and just loop it like so, okay? And then making sure that any slack, because I want that loop, I want that tether loop where I've passed the buckle through, I want that close to the vehicle seat, okay? So I've pulled that tight, I've got no twists, so I can click that on and just take the slack off it. So the next thing we're going to do is the seat belt, okay? So with the two-way Elite, if you have a look in the manual, there are different methods for routing the seat belt depending on whether you have the seat reclined, whether you have it upright, or if you're dealing with a short seat belt, for example. So I'm going to fit it in sort of the most common way that you would fit the two-way Elite. And you take your seat belt, okay, just a good length of belt, and you're going over the top here through the gap right down underneath the car seat, okay? So you'll be coming right the way down. You might see the belt down here, yeah? And then poke your hand through and bring that seat belt back up and just keep pulling it, okay? Now, my car is a Honda Civic, and Hondas have belts that if I let this retract a little bit now, I wouldn't be able to pull any more belt out loose, okay? And I'd have to start again. So just be careful, try and keep the belt running smooth when you are fitting this, especially if you're in a Honda, because when it locks, it's a pain in the bum to take it all out and start again, okay? So just make sure I tend to hold my belt so it doesn't retract. It's just something to bear in mind. Now, I've got my belt fitted correctly, so I'm under the bottom of the seat, and I've come back out and over. I'm then going to take the top part of the seat belt and I'm going to grip it and pull it, and at the same time I'm going to put my body weight in the seat, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm pulling up towards the roof of the car, and what that does is it takes all the slack out of the seat belt. And then what I'm going to do, if I don't want to pull that a little bit better actually, because I can get a tighter fit. And I'm making sure the slack comes from this side under, down to the buckle and then back through, okay? So I've pulled all the slack is here, and then I'm going to pull it back into the inertia reel, okay? So that here is now fitted perfectly. Then the next thing I'm going to do is pull all my tethers tight again, okay? I prefer to do this from the front seat. I find it a lot easier. So I will go around the front now and I'll show you how I tighten tethers. Okay, so what I tend to do is take my tether and I wrap it around my hand. Okay, you might be able to see that there. And I pull and just give it a billowelly. So. And then what I might even do is just tip my seat back a tiny bit, just to get a little bit more contact there. By pulling your tethers from the front seat, what you're doing with your tethers when you pull them is you pull these loose straps down to where the tether point is anchored, okay? By doing it from the front seat, it's a lot easier to pull than it is to push them tight. So do it from the front seat and it'll be a lot easier. Okay, so. And the other thing to note as well is your tethers come through this hole here. Okay, they don't come from down here, they come from up here. The only time your tethers would come from the bottom is if you were fitting upright in the front seat of the vehicle. Okay, so any other time they're through this slot up here. So my seat is braced, my seat belt is fitted nice and tight, I've got my tethers nice and firm, and that's my seat fitted. So I'm going to come around now and just show you how to check that it is fitted tight. So to check that it's all fitting nice and securely, take your hand where your lap belt root is, or your seat belt root, and just give it a wiggle side to side. Okay, I've got no movement there, and you're just pushing here. Obviously the seat is braced, so there's going to be no movement there. And just making sure that any slack on your tethers is taken out of the seat, okay? And that is the two-way Elite fitted in the reclined position, okay? So the next thing we're going to do is take the seat and we're going to fit it in the upright position because it is slightly different the way you route the seat belt, okay? So we're going to just take our seat belt off the thing, out the buckle even, and pop that through, and then again, by having those green buttons facing outwards, it's a lot easier to get your tethers off as well, okay? So there's a method to the madness. Now, to fit our seat in the upright position, you would do this for an older child. what you're going to do is in here, where this silver strap is here, there's a little button, and it's a bit like the button that you use to extend the harness. Just swing this out all together, okay? And then place the seat on the back of the vehicle seat, okay? Now, I am just going to have a little play with the position of my front seat. And one thing you might note as well with this fitting of the two-way Elite is just how little space it takes up in the car. It's like my front seat here is so much further back right now than my driving seat. So if you've got a really tall passenger, the two-way Elite is actually a really good option. Or even if you've got a really small car, the two-way Elite's a pretty good option for that as well. So again, take your tethers. So you set your angle first, make sure you're going to get contact with the back of the seat, the front seat even, so you can brace. Attach your tethers, take your slack off. Okay, so when your seat is fitted in this position, your seatbelt is going under, over, under, okay? So we did over, under, over for reclined. For upright, we're going to come underneath the seat. Okay, so I'm going to pull this slack here. One thing you can do with your seatbelt, if you have got one of these belts that retract like I have in the Honda, just pop a peg at the top of the seatbelt up here. If you clip a peg on it, it will stop it retracting as well. I'm just really scared it's going to start retracting as I'm filming. Right, okay, so go underneath the cover. And all the way through. Okay, that's looking good. And then we're going to go back down through here. And then we're going to clip in. And the thing I'm checking here continually is that my seatbelt isn't getting all twisted or anything, okay? Now, I find with this fitting, I get a lot of slack on this side of the car. So again, I'm going to put my weight on. I might even get a knee in the seat. And I'm going to pull this belt as tight as I can, okay? And you're pulling the seatbelt back the way it's come, okay? So we're pulling that belt, and I'm going to pull the slack through up here to get as tight a fit as I possibly can. Now, this belt isn't twisted, but it is bunching up. Natural bunching is fine, okay? But you don't want twisting. And I must admit, the two-way Elite doesn't fit great in my car in an upright position, but you'll get an idea, okay? So I can't say I'm thrilled with the way the seatbelt is there, but that's how it is in the car. I wouldn't actually use a seat like this for Alfie in the car, but to give you an idea of how it's fitting, do you see how this is all loose here? I wouldn't, there we go, oh that's better. Let's pull it, just try and get as much slack as possible off your seatbelt route. Let's just push it down there a little bit. Okay, so it can take a little bit of fiddling around, and that's absolutely fine. You want a nice tight belt, okay, which in fairness I've got. So again, the last thing I'm going to do now is tension my tethers. So that's my seatbelt done. And again, I like to make my life as easy as possible. So I'm going to tension my tethers and pull them nice and tight. Don't worry if the seat moves a bit at this stage. Okay, so my tethers are tight, and then last thing, this base here. Take this silver strap and pull it, okay? So it pulls the seat, this sort of bar, in around the vehicle seat, okay? So again, I'm bracing at the top, my tethers are fitted, my seatbelt is fitted. Could I do it better? Probably. Actually, I could probably do a better job here. I'm not thrilled with it. I probably wouldn't use this for Alfie in the car. However, again, it's fitted tight. Maybe tension that tether a little bit more, and tension this tether a little bit more actually to be happy with it. And that's your two-way Elite in your upright position, okay? So you're going under, over, under, making sure the bar down here is swung out, and your tethers and your bracing as well, okay? So that is how you fit the Britax two-way Elite in both the reclined and in the upright position. I hope you found the video helpful. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, please give me a like or a comment, and I will see you all again soon. Thank you for watching. Bye now.